Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea,
And I'm Valentina.
and we're the founders of the Ethical Brand Studio. In today's episode, we're rethinking the best ways to grab attention. We'll look at how creativity, humor, and art can spark more genuine connections and share practical ways to earn attention with honesty and imagination. All right, Valentina, let's get started. So, in this world of endless content and shrinking attention spans, how important is it really to grab attention in your ads and in your marketing?
Well, the truth is that it's extremely important. I wish it wasn't. I wish we could go more at ease with this. But the truth is that there's more and more people trying to grab everyone's attention. And so it becomes really important to be strategic on the way we do this, because if we are not able to grab people's attention, then they are not going to see our messages, and everything else that we do will be not relevant. So if we want to create greater impact with our businesses or with our project, if we want to deliver valuable messages to people, we do need to grab their attention. But the good thing that I can say is there's good ways to grab attention. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean that we're doing something wrong, or that we're doing something that is bad. I feel like grabbing people's attention has a little bit these
It has like a negative connotation.
exactly. And I would love to explore in this conversation all the ways that we can do it in a good way and leaving people better than how we found them, which is my
Perfect.
my biggest goal. Yeah.
That goes to my next question. How can we be seen without being loud or invasive or being manipulative in our messaging?
The best way is being creative. I would put creativity in the center of everything that we talk about today, because it is really about creating these messages in different ways, thinking outside the box, using art, using humor, using beauty, and using different elements that can call people attention in a softer, loving way.
Oh, I love that. Okay, can we talk about that creativity? Can we talk about maybe the humor or the beauty? Yeah, let's dig into that.
So I can give you a few examples of how we can do this to try to be more clear on how to use creativity. If you think about how a message is composed, of course, it depends a lot on which channel we are using, right? But usually there's some type of text, there's some type of visual, there's some type of audio maybe. And if you look at all those elements and you start thinking, how can we put humor into that? How can we put beauty into that? How can we put these different vibes that we want to convey, then you start looking at all of these little elements and you try different things out. And for example, if we go to the words that we use and we want to make them funny, maybe we can use play on words and use different ways to say what we want to say. We can try to make people laugh in like the first seconds that they read something. And that's already causing like a nice reaction into them, calling for people attention. When you walk somewhere, like you're walking in the street and you see like a big billboard and there's something funny, it like the first reaction you'll have if you're walking with someone is going to be like, hey, look at that. Or you read that out loud and you laugh and you want to share that also. That's a great way to call for attention, for example.
Right, because a good play on words kind of get people to think, you get them to question, you get them to laugh once they get it. So I really like that. It reminded me of a Vietnamese food restaurant in Miami when I lived in Miami that they served pho. And I'm pretty sure I don't remember exactly the name of it, but it was something like it used pho as the F word. And it was like pho and good. It was like and it made it sound like it was, like, fucking good, basically. But you had to be like, "Fuck," like, you had to, like, think about it, and then once you read it out loud, you were like, "Oh, wait." And then you're like, "Oh, now I want pho."
It's like a plot twist.
Yeah, because it made me laugh, it would, like, stay in my brain, and I remember, like, being in a taxi on my way home, and I would pass it every time, and it made me laugh every single time, and so I thought about that place all the time, and so when my friends want like, if we're craving Vietnamese food, like, I know a place to go to because I see the name of it, it makes me laugh, and I'm like, "Let's go try that place."
So there's two elements on what you're describing that are really interesting. The last one that you're talking to is how it creates a positive association in your brain. So because you laughed and you had a feeling of something positive, then you associate the brand to a positive feeling. And also the fact that it was smart, that you liked the wording. We have this thing as people, when we see something that is not going as we expect it to go, or like when we
Mhm.
read something and it doesn't fully make sense, our
Mhm.
brains get stuck. Wait, let me figure this out. So that's like a two-step. First step is there's something out of place. Let me figure out why. And then the second step is the laugh. And then you create that positive connection. So it's a wonderful way to grab people's attention because it does like a multiple things in one, right? And it's like, oh, they're smart, it's a smart thing. And so you like that, right?
Yeah, clever writing is always so good.
And that's why we need to use copywriters. I highly suggest not only copywriters, we're talking about being creative. The best creative people are artists. It's people who know how to use words in different ways, in ways that like can spark feelings, in ways that are just out of the box. Then you have writers, you have artists, photographers, you have visual artists, painters, illustrators. There's a lot of creatives that I would love to highlight for this purpose because they do have the resources to grab the attention in these better ways.
Right. I want to talk about all of the ones that you just mentioned, but I was thinking while you were talking about that, when we were talking about wording and copywriters and how, because we were just talking about humor, I know a lot of friends that are writers, that are copywriters, and also that write. And I was like, wait, those are my friends that make me laugh the most. Like they're just creative all the time and they're always making me think and they make me laugh. Like they are the people that make me laugh the most. So you're right. Like we
Yeah.
need to be using our copywriters because they're clever.
And the fact that they're human, because of course we can't forget the fact that nowadays a lot of copywriters are being replaced by AI and also artists are, right? The fact that they're human help them empathize with our emotion and our feelings in such a different way that machine can, right? There's a part that is about being clever and probably AI is getting a very good like point with that. But then there's a human part of the issues we face with the feelings that we go through when we're thinking about something specifically. And that's what humans do best, you know, is empathize with other and be able to provide them with the message, the right message.
Right, and also humans can keep up with culture changes and, like, they
Exactly.
know when, like, something has just happened and it's funny and we can relate back to it, we can make a joke about you would have to, like, be training AI constantly to even try to like, which they do, but you can't keep up. You can't keep up with humans, like, our brains are so much faster.
We don't know yet, right, how much it will be able to keep up or not AI. But I do think there's a spark in using people who love to do it because artists, it's really hard that you have a good writer or a good artist, visual artist that doesn't love what they do and the love that they put into the things that they do. I think you see it. And I think those are the best ads, the ads that have been made with that in mind.
Okay, so we've talked about the other creatives, right? So can you give us more examples of maybe music, or video or design?
Yes. For example, video. One practice that I really love is when there's a story being told that it's almost like a short film. I've seen this done both in YouTube ads, TV ads, but also social media ads. Sometimes they do like these little short films where there's something very poetic or like we said, funny. And it does leave you with this feeling of having appreciated art. The same reasons why we go and watch movies, the same vibes we get out of that, we can get through a very, of course, it's not the same, but like in a short version through video advertisings that are made a little bit of more creativity and artists and directors who have like a greater
Mhm.
idea behind what they're talking about.
Yeah, and of course, if you're having a film or a movie, I always think you need to have good music because the music is what
Yes.
brings out that emotion out of you. So, yeah, all of those artists that you need, that we need in order to like feel things. Okay, so all of these are ways and examples that we can grab people's attention. like we mentioned in some sort of ad, whether that's on a digital on your phone, on your TV, or if it's a billboard. We've talked about all of that, but what is the point of all of this? What are we trying to I know what ads are for, right? We're trying to sell. But why is it important to go in a different direction to try to grab people's attentions rather than just doing something that's going to make them to react to an ad?
Well, I think with this question, you're bringing up the core of the whole concept of ethical marketing and why we do what we do in the way we do it. Advertising a need to sell, but of course also from awareness to selling, there's many points that you have to go through, and ads can help in all of those steps. But there's many ways to go through all of those steps. And if when we try to get awareness, when we try to get the message across, when we try to explain why what we're doing is valuable for them, if we fall into tactics that we think are going to take us there faster, but that they are creating, even if it's a very tiny damage into the people or into the society or in the beliefs we have, then on one end, I think it might hurt the relationship between the brand and their target audience. And the other thing that could happen is that we are creating beliefs that harm the society, that harm the environment. And that's where we are trying to be conscious, because there's actually no need to do that. It might be faster, but will it be sustainable in time? What do we get out of it? So I think because there are better ways, because you can grab attention without being manipulative, without creating anxiety, without being a problem for people, because I believe we can do all of that, I think we should. And because we can create something better, we can create a greater impact if we do.
Right, and if we do it in that way, it's not just better for, like, the society as a whole, but it's also good for your business. It's more sustainable, like you mentioned. It's create a better connection to your clients or your potential clients, and, yeah, you can leave people thinking about you in a positive way rather than something that makes them feel a little icky.
Exactly. And there's a concept that I studied once. It's actually love brand. And love brands means stepping out of the competition. It's like when you have all of these brands that you can choose between, okay, I have to buy a pair of shoes. I can choose this brand, this brand, this brand. I choose this one, and another day I choose that other one. And there's a point that if the brand messaging is done in a very loving way, and like you can really connect with your audience through the values that you share, and like there's like that deeper connection, and your audience knows that you're not going to harm them or like you're do anything against, like they trust you. If you're able to build that trust with your audience, and you always deliver a good product and you deliver messages that they love, then you can become a love brand. And that love brand like sets apart from all the others. And so every time I'm going to need a shoe, I'm going to go to you and not to all these other people almost ever. I had a boyfriend once that he
Mhm.
was so in love with this brand. It was fun. And he would feel when he was buying a different brand, like for example, for running, he was looking at other brands and he felt he was cheating on his love. And he was like, I don't feel like I can buy those shoes because I only buy those other shoes. And
Yeah.
I was always so amazed of how they were able to get him in that way, you know?
Right, they really, like
But
they brought him in.
but it was like a reciprocate thing, because the brand had a very loyal customer, but he loved the brand so much that he would get so happy when he would buy a new shoes, and like he would follow like all the initiative they would do, and it really brought him joy. And so it's a win-win in that sense. and
Exactly.
and that's what I would love brand to go for.
And what I love
He
about that example with your ex too is that I'm sure when if anyone around him ever mentioned, "Oh, I need to get new shoes," he would, like, jump at the moment to be like, "You should get Vans. I love Vans, and this is why I love Vans." And because he keeps up with the initiatives, he'll be able to talk about them in a way that is probably even educational for a person that's looking for shoes, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, then." you did all the research for me. I might as well go get Vans. That also goes back to we're talking about this with this idea of the attention economy. Now, not only do you have ads in your own like marketing initiatives, but now you have loyal customers that are also helping you get other people's attention.
He's like almost an influencer for the brand, suggesting that to everyone. This is very interesting that we're talking about this because another way to get attention, instead of trying to cut through the chaos of all the messages that your audience is receiving, what you can do is try to go and find who they're already listening to, like influencers. And that's what the word you mentioned, the attention economy that we have right now, is what it refers to. Because nowadays, people who have a following, who can be heard, who can be trusted, they have an asset, a huge asset that they can sell also. And that's why we pay for influencers.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that is like the next step, right? Like you have the people that are like your loyal bases out in the world, like talking about your brand, but then yeah, you have your influencers online. And I typically, like I've mentioned in a few other episodes, I don't really watch commercials, and if I do, it's because they've gone viral on social. But what I do see a lot of is people that I follow, who I really respect, who have a huge following. They're usually some sort of like educator or a comedian. And what they end up doing, because they do have eyes on them, is they have partnerships with people. And seeing those partnerships of like the people they choose to partner with usually helps me be like, oh, I really like this person. Or it makes me be like, oh, why are they partnering with them? And so, for example, she's a comedian in New York City. She also will like talk about politics and she talks about everything, but she's also making me laugh all the time. But she partnered with, I think they're called Back Market. Yeah. So she branded with Back Market, and I had never heard of them before, but basically they refurbish technology and then you can buy it from them. Oh yeah, you just recently got a computer.
I use them for everything because they make so much sense for ecology.
Right. So basically for our listeners that might not know what Back Market is, it's basically a company, yeah, that refurbishes technology and then you can buy the technology from them. So instead of getting a brand new phone, you can get a phone that works perfectly from them without having to spend like thousands of dollars or euros.
And what I love about them is that they also give you warranty on your products. And so
Beautiful.
they take away the fear of buying a used thing. And I love that they're doing that because that also helps buying less new things, in the sense that like for overproduction and like the things that we want to throw away, we don't throw away. And so
Yeah,
right.
that's beautiful. Like I love that. I now even like them even more. Like I didn't even know that part, but I learned about them and I've been keeping them in my mind because I also like I try not to buy and like what do I need new technology every year for? I don't. And so, but like I have them in my mind now that like when I am get to a point where I need new technology, I'm going to use them because now I don't want to buy a brand new Apple whatever. I don't need a brand new Apple whatever. And so I loved that she partnered with them. I love that she basically created an ad for she created an ad for them. She used her influence to make an ad for them, and now I've been influenced to use them the next time I need technology.
I really love what you're talking about because also you said at one point there are sometimes that you feel that you see the influencers and you see who they partner with and you like cringe a bit
Mhm.
and you're like, why did they do that? And then and others that you love more, you said, right? And that's what we really want to do as brand, is to partner with people who are gonna give you that feeling. And as influencers, we don't want to give the other feeling of like, why did she partner with that?
Right. Don't push people away.
And the way to do it right is to fully align in values. So the influencer as a brand, the influencer you want to get is an influencer who truly has the same value than you. And of course, you're going to have to research about the influencer, what messages they're talking about, what will think about them. But I would even say like an honest conversation of what are your true values, like having an honest conversation with them to see if they can stand for their values. We're talking about how to have great partnerships, right? How to partner in the best way. So if you are a brand, try to have a good conversation with the influencer where you can truly know if they stand for the same values that you stand. and as an influencer the same, right? And that's the best way to make sure that those collaborations are beneficial for both.
Right. Yeah, that's perfect. This was such a fun conversation. I feel like you gave a lot of insights on the best ways to grab attention, but also without making people feel icky. So I like that. And if our viewers or our listeners have any questions about what we talked about, or if they want to make any comments, if you've learned anything, please write them in the comments below or send us a DM if you'd like. And if you're interested in any of our services, you can check out our website at theethicalbrandstudio.com. And as always, the best way to support us for free is to share this podcast and our blogs and our content with everyone you know. And thank you for being here. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Ethical Brand Podcast. If something we said sparked a thought or shifted your perspective, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on all socials at The Ethical Brand Studio or head to theethicalbrandstudio.com to learn more about how we support conscious brands, artists, and nonprofits. And if you're enjoying the podcast, one of the best ways to support us is by sharing it with a friend or leaving a review on your favorite platform. It helps more people find us and keep these conversations going. Until next time.